Right, okay. Hey, what is up, guys? I hope you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. We're live right now with the awesome JP. I'm very, very excited to have him share his story with you and a little bit about what he's been through to get to where he is right now. It's going to be really awesome to hear his side of his story and get some wisdom and insight on his life. So, what I'm just going to do now, guys, before we get started, I'm just going to check that everything's looking all right. Just get my Facebook up here. Spawn sounds good. So as everyone's joining, welcome. I will just Rachel, welcome. It's great to have you on. Everyone who's joining, it's fantastic to have you here. Okay, so first of all, what I'll do is I'll give you a short introduction, JP, and then we'll get straight into it. Right, okay, guys. So just to give you a bit of an overview of JP. JP was raised by a single mom of 7. JP has faced several seasons of adversity, ranging from surviving an abusive childhood, dropping out of junior high school, falling into the criminal enterprise, being incarcerated, and co-raising 4 well-rounded children in spite of these setbacks. He's currently a public speaker, author, YouTuber, and personal results coach with over 20 years of experience helping the under-resourced develop inner resources to overcome adversity, which I think is absolutely beautiful. I think that's an amazing bio right there. So, JP, just as everyone's joining as well, actually, I'll just say Rachel, Emma, Katie, Oliver, Julie, Amy, it's great to have you all on today. I hope you enjoy listening to JP. So, first of all, I just need to ask, sort of, what are 3 of the biggest adversities that you've had in life?
Well, one of the biggest ones, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one of the biggest challenges was just growing up in poverty. You know, poverty is painful. You go to school, you see your friends, I flunked gym because I had these clog hoppers because I didn't have tennis shoes,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So we had wooden floors. So I learned to start being a class clown so people can laugh with me instead of laughing at me. So that was one of the things. Just growing up in poverty is probably one of the first pieces of adversity, and that kind of made me make a lot of poor decisions. Start shoplifting, stuff like that. I remember I stole some Pro Wings from Payless, so it wasn't about stealing Nikes or Adidas. It was just about having some shoes with rubber soles. So poverty was one of the first pieces. And then, of course, the other piece was just being in an abusive home. My mom, I love her. She had 7 of us, single mom, but she just wasn't very affectionate. I think the first time I remember my mom telling me, I love you, I was about 30. Literally, as a kid, I don't, as a father, I remember holding my kids and kissing them and telling them I love them. We didn't have those moments. We didn't have those tender moments. She was very physically and not so much verbally abusive, but very physically abusive and sometimes neglectful. So that was another piece of really affecting my sense of self-worth and stuff like that. And then the third piece is once I did finally fall off into the criminal enterprise, is being incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got out, particularly as a fresh felon, it was so difficult because I had kids. And then as a fresh felon, I couldn't get jobs. A lot of stuff says must, have a clean criminal background, must no felonies. So now all of a sudden, I got 4 kids to take care of, and barely no ability to get a job. And then if I don't get a job because I had court ordered child support, I'm going to end up being, convicted of another felony for non-support. So that probably was one of the hardest things. So I had some family out of state, and my cousin was stayed in Montana, which, you're over in England, so you may not be familiar, but it's probably about 1,700 miles away. Wow. To get a sense. So I went to Montana just to work at Wendy's because I couldn't even get a fast food job. So I worked at Wendy's so I could pay my child support. So, because the choice, I was like, well, if I stay in this environment where all I know is crime, criminal enterprise, because I'm not able to get legitimate jobs because I just got out. So by going there, that gave me a chance to kind of reboot. Then I, miss my kids and stuff like that. So I would come back. And so just being persistent, you know what I mean? So that was one of the biggest pieces. But in the long run, I was able to, you know, be a active father, even though I wasn't in the home. All of them graduated, didn't have no teen pregnancies. None of them got kicked out of school. You know, you know, my oldest is a college graduate, getting ready to go into graduate school. My youngest daughter married, she do hair. My son, you know, he's a father and he's working full time. So, you know, I'm really grateful that I was able to persist through that because a lot of guys in my situation they don't. They're either dead or they're in and out of prison, back and forth, back and forth. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to say that my hat goes off to you because being able to turn those adversities into clearly really amazing positive like you have is just phenomenal, you know, like especially to go from where you were to the accolades and where you are right now. I think it's really, really amazing. And I think that a lot of people, and I mean this is the biggest compliment to you, is they don't take responsibility for things that happen to them. And you clearly did, which is just, you know, it speaks for itself. You've really been able to get to where you wanted to be. So
Thank you.
let me just say hello to some people here. So we've got loads of people joining
Sure.
tonight, which is fantastic. So we've got Julie, Amy, Terry, Emily. Welcome, everybody. Amy lost audio completely. Apologies for that. Hopefully you can, let me just, it seems to be okay on my end. Anna, welcome. Timmy, welcome. It's great to have you on. Helen, Peter, Frankie, and Ashley. It's great to have you all on. So if you have any questions for JP as well, pop them down in the comments section there. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer any of those.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So it's like I said, like that for itself is really amazing to see. Now, one thing that's interesting me, you know, is a lot of people when they go down the route of you know, like you mentioned, the criminal enterprise, which is still understandable. You know, like when you're trying to survive, like what else are you supposed to do in those scenarios? What was the thing that enabled you to get out of it? You know, to get out of that cycle and become who you wanted to be.
One of the key things with my kids, right? I didn't want to set. A lot of times we want to be what we see. So, you know, a lot of the people that I've seen that had some kind of material success, they were dope dealers, pimps, pushers, and I didn't want my kids to follow that. So I wanted to be an example. So I knew that they had at least one example because I was going to be that example of not trying to find the easy way, but finding the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the one thing. So education was that kind of was like a hideaway for me. You know, it was a safe place for me. I started to realize that I could learn things and I can achieve some academic success. So that was a big piece of it. And then, you know, I started meeting other people. I started, you know, people from, you know, middle class, different, you know, and seeing that, yeah, it's people out here that's willing to help you, like you said, if you're willing to help yourself. So one of the biggest things that I learned is that not letting where you are affect who you are.
Nice.
That was probably one of the biggest things. So when I was incarcerated, I was in there with guys like almost bragging. Oh man, this is my 4th time. This is my 7th time. I'm like, no, I'm like, this is not cool. So one of the mindset that I had differently is I didn't serve time. I made time serve me.
Nice.
And that's the difference. That's the difference. So a lot of people, they just serve time. They sit on the phone. Hey, you know, talking to their, you know, girlfriend, the kid, send me some shoes, send me some, because they want to be comfortable. I wanted to be uncomfortable as possible. I said, I do not want to come back. So I want to learn as much as I can because I don't want to come out with the same skills that I came in with.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and I even had a list of where I was going to volunteer because I said I'd rather do something for nothing than nothing for nothing.
Yeah.
Because if I can show you, I don't have to tell people I reform. If I'm willing, when I was volunteering, I was the person there first. And I was walking from one side of town to another. They're like, hey, where your car? I don't have a car. I walk. Where did you walk from? Oh, I walked from the south side. You walked from the, you know, and that was like, but that right there, when you are showing people something, you don't have to tell them. Yeah, you're going to still have your critics. You're going to have people say, you know, once a criminal, always a criminal. But you got to believe in you. You have a responsibility to believe in you. And eventually other people will get on board. But if you don't get on board, nobody will never get on board. So the first person is you. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. You've just dropped a couple of absolute golden nuggets right there. And I was nodding to a couple of the bits you said. That's phenomenal. Listen, guys, if you're enjoying this live, share it with your friends. I'm for one, I'm absolutely loving exactly Rachel. We've got Rachel here. Love this man. He speaks so much truth. I totally agree with you. We've got Timmy here. How did you? Oh, we've got a question here. So, how did you, if you did, deal with anxiety and also dealing with close friends' opinions of your life, past and present?
Okay, my big issue wasn't so much anxiety as it was depression, right? Because once I just remember being celebrated for the bad things. Like when I was the dope boy, all the ladies and even, some people close to me, they celebrated that.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden I started working and going to school, I was isolated. So depression was like, it was a major thing because it's like, wow, why aren't people happy for me? Aren't they happy? Well, because now, I can't pay your rent. I can't just drop, a few $100s here and there because now I'm working, making, minimum wage or whatever while I'm going to school. So depression was probably the biggest thing. So I had to really start learning to come up with a strategy, self-talk, right? So even yourself, I listened to some of your interviews, which are highly inspiring. And you got to self-talk. You got to attack those negative attitudes like, oh, I'm not worth it. I give up. Think about it. When you say you give up, do you feel good or do you feel like crap? You feel like crap. You say, I refuse to give up. I refuse to give in. I refuse to give out.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost take it almost like a sport, right? You make it like a sport. I'm going to win. I want to win. I'm designed. I'm built to win. And some people think it's willy-nilly, but it's the truth. If you don't believe in you, nobody else will. So that self-talk is so, so important. So you got to get people like yourself. Like, get people, find an example. Like me, I always find two examples. One that I want to model and one that I don't. Find somebody, hey, look what this person did. I do not want to do what they're doing. And look, hey, I kind of like, they got similar circumstances. They've overcome. And try to find many good examples as possible. So that's kind of what I did. A lot of good, positive self-talk to offset that depression.
Yeah. And I think that's absolutely amazing. I can relate to you totally there. When I first began molding myself into who I am, I started watching motivational videos on YouTube and just listening to that when everyone was laughing at me, constantly questioning what I was doing, trying to take the piss out of what I was doing. And that as soon as I started having those other voices and reason coming into my mind, it eradicated everything. And I was just able to steam plow through everything that was wanted. So no, that's amazing advice, truly.
Absolutely.
We've got a couple of other questions here as well. So it's really good. By the way, everyone who's watching, if you want to put hashtag live, apparently that's also really good to get the live out there. So please feel free to. We've got Giselle and Joe. Welcome. Frankie here says, how do you avoid the trials of stress destroying your life if no one is around? Interesting.
One of the big things that I do is I take a gap analysis, right? Where, I'm stressed and why am I stressed, right? So I look at it. Am I stressing because I just bought a used car and, I got to keep going to the shop for them to fix it, even though it's under warranty? Well, is that really worth me being stressed? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's under warranty. It ain't costing me money. This is going to save me money and headache later. So go ahead and get it out the way now. So the power of perspective, right? So if I can look through the lens of adversity and see the opportunity, that kind of helps me, right? Now, if I'm stressed out over, say, like I got a real life situation, my dad is on hospice, right? So I can just be stressed, like, oh man, and it is sad. But in the same token, my worries, my stress, that's not going to help him and it's not going to help me. Worry is worthless. So what I got to do is know that I did the absolute best. I celebrated you while you living. I celebrate your life. I celebrate your legacy. You know what I mean? And it gives me an opportunity to appreciate all the other people, to appreciate my health, to not take people for granted. So ask yourself, why are you stressing? And is it worth? I mean, are you stressing over a job? If you got that Monday misery, then take action Tuesday. Do something about it. You know, don't be miserable Monday after Monday after Monday. You know, can you do something about it? That's the thing too, because sometimes we say, well, I'm just stressed, I'm tired. But can you do something about it? Do you have a voice? Do you have a choice? And if you do, why aren't you why aren't you doing something about it?
Again, that's absolutely dropping the bombs right there. I love it. And one thing you said there is perspective. And if you actually think about it, if Monday is coming around and you're feeling bad and you don't want to do it, turn Sunday into your Monday. You know, wake up on Sunday morning and start doing work and turn that into your Monday, so that then Monday becomes, and there's always, I love what you mentioned there, the perspective. It's so, so important. It really is. Let's just have a look here. Love the idea of having models to aspire to and avoid. That was from Julie. I agree with you totally.
Thank you.
Rachel says, no worries, Rachel. See you soon. Jack's joined. Welcome, Jack. Timmy's here as well. So, no, it's fantastic. You've really been given some fantastic knowledge here right now. So the next question, and this is a really interesting one, and might make you smile, is what is the biggest lesson your children have taught you?
Ooh, biggest lesson. Oh, that is a good one. Because they've taught me so much. I think one of them is the power of being honest. I think that's one of just being honest and open, because sometimes we want to protect our image, our mistakes, and all that stuff from our kids, because we want to be that beacon. We want to be, hey, I'm dad, I'm this good guy, right? But I let my kids know I was vulnerable with them. I was honest. Hey, look, I wasn't always a good guy. I wasn't always well spoken. I wasn't always nice. I used to be a jerk, and I didn't always make the best decisions. So that helped them feel more comfortable. I remember one time, because I got children by two different women, and then one time I called their mom and I was like, "Hey, how the kids doing?" Oh, she's like, "Oh, they're fine." So I got them on the phone. I talked to my one daughter. She was like, "Dad," she was like, I was in school suspension today." And I was like, "You really?" I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, I was talking in class." And then I said, "So if that situation come up again, how do you think you should handle it?" And she said, "Well, I should raise my hand and get up and move away." And it was interesting because she told me, not her mom, and my kids would tell me, "Hey, I got in trouble today, or I had this issue," and that was like, wow, because I mean, as a kid when I came out, I wasn't gonna tell my mom I did nothing, because I knew that meant getting knocked across the room or whatever. So I think that's one of the biggest ones. Just be honest, be vulnerable with them, and they'll be honest and they'll be vulnerable with you.
Yeah, I love that. And that's exactly why I asked it, because I don't have children myself, but, especially from speaking to people with children and just listening to the stories, like wisdom comes from the most incredible of places. And like you say right there, like you can't beat that, can you? You really can't.
You can't. It's great.
Definitely. So it looks like, let me just have a look here. Frankie says, depression is the #1 killer in a person's life here in the States. I am on meds for depression and anxiety, but hate taking my meds to avoid danger. What can I do to avoid getting in this kind of mood if I can avoid taking my meds? Get on different meds that will work for me, or activity? So the question being, obviously, change the meds or do a different activity.
Well, first of all, I tip my hat for you asking that question and reaching out. So one of the big things is doing like what you're doing now, reaching out early and reach out often. Give it a support group. And the challenge is you also want to find that example. Talk to other people because we're all unique. So nobody has the exact life print of each other. So try to find some other people that's going through similar situations, maybe just taking similar medications, right? Once you get in that support group, and then kind of see, how are you dealing with it? What's your doctor's name? What alternative medications, and deal with somebody that you trust. So maybe you can, talking to a professional, that is, and you say, hey, you know what? I want to see how it is to maybe take some time off of these medications and see how I do. And, because a lot of that stuff, you got to have some medical professionals, because they have to test your blood levels and stuff. You definitely want to have a professional to help you navigate, being off meds, reducing meds, because nobody knows the hell in your head but you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to tell you, hey, don't just do this and that. It's going to take time, so be patient, but be persistent. You know what I mean? Find some examples and find some good professional support out there, some professionals that can give you this and helped other people in similar situations. But one of the key things is definitely keep a support group like this, because sometimes when you're going, sometimes you just need somebody to bounce that ideal off to kind of help you come back into place. So I hope that's been helpful.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And one thing that I'd also back up right there is the persistence side of things. Because don't forget that you can have scenarios where you keep doing the same thing over and over again for 3 years and not trying anything new. So it's not to suggest to, just go ahead and stop everything. But yeah, obviously go to a professional, but just be mindful that there's many, many different answers and paths out there for you. And some of it you might be able to do alongside medication, and you'll see that it actually helps you a lot. So yeah, that persistence right there, I think, is really, really spot on.
All right. On this end, I see you, but
No.
your face froze up. You still hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, you
Okay,
good now.
there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're back. So this next one is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, ooh, that's a good one. I see myself being more visible on a national stage,
Yeah.
maybe an international stage. I see myself making a broader impact on more and more lives. I really want to help people understand that they have some power.
Yeah.
Because think about it. A baby is just inherent, right? What do a baby do? A baby cry, right?
Mhm.
It cry. And what is it going to get when it cry?
What it wants.
Attention. Exactly. If it needs food, hey, if it needs to be changed, if it's running a fever. So think about it. That's a baby that's arguably really helpless,
Hmm.
but it still exercises what power it does have. So imagine what we can do as grown individuals who can talk, who can articulate, who can think, who can, adapt and adopt different ideals and different
Hmm.
strategies. We got some power. So I see myself, speaking, doing more, resiliency coaching, nationally and internationally.
Yeah, I love that. And listen, like, you've been absolutely dropping some fantastic information today, and I agree with you totally. Is you know, impacting more people. It's an important thing. A lot of people, like you say, they don't realize their own power. They're not taking responsibility of what's happening. Because everybody goes through bad stuff. Everyone has these bad experiences, no matter what it is. Levels and whatever. But we can all take responsibility and still step into that power and use what we've got to get to where we want to be. So yeah, that's absolutely amazing. So where can people sort of connect with you and watch your content and sort of speak to you?
Okay, yeah. Well, you can hit me up on Facebook. I'm under JP Watkins. But you can also hit me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, and it's under Personal Gov. It's short for personal governance, just because you only got so much space on YouTube. So it's Personal Gov on YouTube. You can, subscribe. I'm a young channel, so I'm still growing. So definitely, if you like what you heard here, I definitely would appreciate your support. And I definitely appreciate you, James, for giving me this opportunity to interview and share some of my insight with you and everyone else.
My pleasure. No, it's awesome. And what we'll do afterwards, we'll sort of drop your links down in the comments. So for anybody who's watching now or who is watching the replay, then by all means, follow him and check him out. So to finish off, is there anything else or a message that you wanted to share with everybody to finish off the live today?
Yeah, I kind of want to really piggyback on what you said, because you said something that really resonate about taking responsibility.
Mhm.
Take responsibility for your attitude and your actions.
Yeah.
And that attitude is so important, because a lot of times, if you think you can't, you're right. If you think you can, you're right. So you have to take responsibility of that attitude. If you think, oh man, I'm going to lose, I ain't worth it, then you're right. So that is so key. I want them Those two things, those two A's, attitude and actions. And if you know better and don't do better, you can't be mad, right? You can't be mad because you didn't lose 10 pounds because you sat there and ate 3 or 4 Whoppers, you know. You got to take action. You know, you got to get up and do what you got to do. So you got to be responsible. I used to always tell my kids, no matter how much I love you, I can't go to the bathroom for you. Only you can do that. It's certain crap that only we can do. And I'll leave you with that.
That's absolutely awesome. Listen, JP, this has been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see you grow and reach more people because, quite frankly, you deserve to. With everything you've shared tonight, you've definitely been an inspiration for me. You've given me some fantastic knowledge as well. Let's just have a look here. We've also got Timmy as well. In fact, I will finish off on the end. You've made the effort to do it. So Timmy says, this is great. Both of you are so inspirational. Thank you so much. Love the meds answer. I'm on many meds to restate my body and mind, but also started counselling to help too. The big C and 2 hip replacements will not fail me. I'm dealing with it day by day and learning not to let the future worry me. My mind is clearing slowly with the help of group sites, meetings, and especially the Do James. Well, first of all, for me, thank you so much for what you said. And for what you're going through, don't worry about it because exactly as we've mentioned tonight, we've taken the responsibility. What JP said with using the power that you've got, if you keep focusing on that, building it and growing it, spending time with me and JP, listening to what we have to say and getting your life to where you want to be, you can overcome anything. And a lot of people disagree with that. And I'm here right now. I don't care what they say. If you put your mind to it, you can overcome anything, and we'll be here to help you along that journey. So thank you for your comment there, Timmy.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Absolutely.
Definitely. So listen, JP, this has been an absolute honor. I would love to work with you in the future as well. That's just a little side note from me. I think that would be proper spot on. So for me, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you everyone who's watched tonight and for yourself.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody for watching. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm just honored, man. I'm tickled. Thank you so much. Take care. And I look forward to working with you as well.
Definitely. Take care, my friend. Speak to you soon.
All right.